Good day. My name is Jeanette Marais and I'm the Head of Investments Distribution at Momentum here in South Africa. Welcome to our annual Momentum Global Investments Think Tank Conference 2020. This is the 19th event that we've hosted, and this year we've decided to go virtual, which has allowed us to reach delegates from all over the world. I'll be your host over the next couple of days, and it'll be my pleasure to introduce you to the lineup of speakers that we have. We have asset managers and investment professionals from the US, the UK, and the Netherlands. In order to get the most out of this event, you'll be able to download every single speaker's presentation as a PDF. You'll also be allowed to rate every session as and when you watch it, and we also encourage you to use the chat box on the right-hand side to add your comments and questions. There'll be someone from Momentum there to engage with you and answer all of your questions. For South African delegates, very important. You must click on the Leave button in order for you to qualify for your CPD points at the end of the session. I'd now like to introduce our first speaker, James Klempster, Director of Investment Management at Momentum Global Investment Management, based in London. James will be setting the scene for the conference.
Thank you, Ray. Welcome, everybody, to our 19th annual Think Tank. It also happens to be our first virtual one. One of the few benefits of this COVID lockdown is that we've adopted seamlessly this technology, and it's allowed us to invite a very wide audience to this event. In fact, we've had close to 1,000 people sign up. So if this is your first Think Tank, welcome. Hopefully, this taster will leave you wanting more, and we'll see all of you in London for Think Tank 2021. It would blow the budget, but I think that's pretty much the definition of a first-class problem. Now, it may be easier to attend this year, but it still represents a significant time commitment on your part, and we're grateful that you've chosen Momentum Global Investment Management and our annual Think Tank conference above all the other demands on your time. On that subject, I'd like to offer an especially warm welcome to the plethora of familiar faces in the room representing all 6 of the world's inhabited continents. There are a decent number amongst you who have attended all 19 of these, which, given the fact you have plenty of other things you could be doing, we take as a huge compliment indeed. Our topic this year is 2020 and beyond, casting off COVID. We chose that topic because we wanted to convey a positive theme to you all. Now, thus far, 2020 hasn't lived up to expectations. For years, we've looked forward to 2020 as the future. It sounds exciting. Remember how 2020 was portrayed in films, flying cars, time machines, robots. So while the way we actually live today may disappoint aficionados of 70s and 80s sci-fi, zooming out a bit for a broader perspective, the way the economies and markets have behaved over the past decade or so has been a thriller. 2020, however, has been a roller coaster of emotions, of GDP and of stock markets. But we've held the view from the very start of the crisis that whether we have a vaccine or not, we will cast this virus off, by hook or by crook. It remains an unequivocal matter of fact that the virus is not unpicking the very fabric of society, nor is it destroying the functioning of capital markets. We will get through this. The human race is an incredibly resourceful and adaptable species, and it's not the first pandemic we've faced, and sadly, nor will it be the last. In fact, while the lockdowns created an unprecedented supply and demand shock, which is totally of our own volition, don't forget, the strength of the financial system and the walls of capital provided through government largesse means that in many ways, this crisis has been less perilous, albeit only from a financial perspective, than the global financial crisis. It's a lot easier to say now, of course, with the clarifying effect of hindsight. There is still plenty of debate going on as to what shape the economic recovery might take, and after a strong rebound in activity over the summer, there are some concerning signs out there that the recovery is running out of steam. There can be no debate about the shape of the stock market recovery, however, as global stocks have bounced back almost as abruptly as they fell, forming a quintessential V shape. But could there yet be a sting in the tail? Are markets, especially the US, getting too far ahead of themselves? Are mega cap growth stocks priced to perfection? Is the pain in the property markets prescient? These are the sorts of topics we should all leave the conference on Wednesday having greater clarity on. I don't believe the age of human interaction is behind us. The pandemic won't roll back on millennia of evolution. And in fact, our experience thus far, where lockdowns have eased, is that the value placed on shared spaces and socializing may well go up as a consequence of this. Extending that logic, could we be on the cusp of a golden age for high street shops, for property, for travel, for socializing? Clients have adapted well to interactions via Zoom, but they still yearn for a sincere conversation across the table. And let me tell you, we feel the same. We've built this business very successfully in the past couple of decades by being available, by being physically present in the markets that our clients live in. The team have crisscrossed the world to ensure our clients are getting the outcomes they expect, and you can be sure that once we can do so, we will do so again. You will all be fully aware through your interactions with the London team over the years that getting out and seeing you and clients when the going is good and bad is the cornerstone of our approach. We understand, and I mean this with no hubris whatsoever, better than any other investment firm I've encountered, the importance of leaving our ivory towers in the City of London and seeing our clients. And that's because we are fundamentally grateful for their support, for your support. We understand the huge leap of faith it requires to invest with people on a tiny island on a different continent from you, whom you may well never meet, and trust them with vital finances you cannot afford to lose. The gravity of that decision is never lost on us. And that's why we spend so much time focusing on hitting our outcomes, making the journey palatable, keeping clients invested, because in a very real sense, it's in clients' best interest that we do just that. We also never lose sight of the imperative role you play in the process. The reason why your clients trust us is because you trust us. So as much as Think Tank is an opportunity for us to showcase our talent and the breadth of expertise that we have at our fingertips, it's also quite simply an opportunity for us to say thank you to you all. The partnerships we've forged between us are the lifeblood of this business, and without you, there would be no us. On the subject of us, since we last assembled in London this time in 2019, our assets have held up well against significant headwinds from global markets. And despite shorter term challenges, our long-term performance remains excellent and our client base continues to grow healthily. Our UCITS CCAV wrapper increased to over $2 billion assets under management and now comprises our best of breed single asset class building blocks alongside the Harmony multi-asset range. We've launched our first sustainability-focused, low-cost global equity strategy in May, and we've already secured our first institutional clients into the fund, which, given the uncertainty out there, is a great vote of confidence in the team. We've done hundreds of webcasts and meetings with clients all around the world, and we even managed to complete much of an abandoned trip to Latin America virtually in March. We've had truly outstanding performance from our growth equity managers, Granahan, our first in class, #1 in their category over 3 years and 5 years, and Jennison, a top quartile over 1, 3 and 5 years. Finally, we've made 2 high quality additions to our investment team in the form of Gabriella, our student from Bath University, and Chris Butcher, who was a student from Bath University a couple of years ago and has joined us full time just this month, representing further commitment to growing our young talent in our team. The time for my introduction is nearly over. Turning one final time to markets, I'm reminded of a great French saying: the more things change, the more they stay the same. Ignoring why we're worried for a moment, if possible, remember what we talked about all through 2019. I lost count of how many times we said markets climb a wall of worry, and guess what? They still are, and they are still well supported. Don't forget, again, last year and years before, we spoke regularly about the amount of cash in client portfolios, the amount of remorse there was out there amongst investors who didn't use the market route in 2007 and 2008 to enter the market, sat on the sidelines and watched as markets went up for a decade. Well, they've been given a chance of redemption in the early part of this year, and flows data suggests they are taking it. In last year's introduction, I spoke of the importance of emotional resilience. Markets throw a lot of potential pain at us as they move along, and if we thought resilience was important then, it's imperative now. Which brings me neatly to my now traditional annual reminder that more often than not, markets go up. Over the long run, it pays to be optimistic about the prospects for stock markets. For example, over the last 50 years, the MSCI World Total Return Index has finished 145 of 200 quarters higher than where it began. Now, aside from the terrible human toll of the virus and the yet to come unforeseen consequences of lockdown, the impact on markets, economies, and businesses has been profound but not fatal. Now we work together to ascertain where the best opportunities lie in 2020 and beyond. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to achieving great results with you through 2020 and beyond as we cast off COVID.
Momentum Global Investment Management was established in the UK as a specialist global investment manager. The firm is part of Momentum Metropolitan Holdings Limited, a large South African insurance and investment business listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. We are deliberately different. We have developed a unique investment philosophy that prioritizes the prospect of you achieving your own unique investment goals. This is supported by a tried and tested focused investment process. Together, we call this the Momentum Outcome-Based Investing Approach. We focus on designing, building, and managing outcome-based investment solutions and on providing investment consulting services.
We started Momentum Global Investment Management as far back as 1998. And the interesting thing is, it was started a year after South Africa relaxed exchange controls. And Momentum responded really quickly. In fact, in a year's time, we launched this business in order to respond and to deliver solutions for South Africans' offshore investment requirements. Today, we manage well in excess of $5 billion in global international solutions. In fact, in the last 5 years, we've also started to deliver investment consulting solutions to defined benefit schemes in the United Kingdom. And today, we advise on 40 billion sterling of assets. London is by far the most international of global financial centres in the world.
I've been in the investment industry for almost 50 years, and there's one big thing I've learned in that period of time is that you have to be at the centre of the industry, and London is that very centre globally.
You may not know this, but more dollars get traded through London than get traded through New York.
Behind me is the Bank of England that has been the rock of the financial centre for many, many years.
Momentum Investments has an outcome-based investment philosophy, and for us in London as multi-asset investment professionals, it really means that we focus on generating decent returns for clients, and the reality is that's what we've always done.
We take the client's journey very seriously.
In terms of making the journey comfortable, I think there's really two angles to that. The first one, of course, is building portfolios that are robust and ride out market storms as well as they possibly can. But also I think there's an experiential element in terms of people's anticipation, what people expect. So the more we can manage expectations ahead of time, help people understand when markets are bad, what that means, when markets are good, what that means. And that's why we focus a lot as an investment team on getting out, meeting our clients, being open, communicative and transparent.
Diversifying beyond your home market, whether it's South Africa or frankly the UK or even the United States, is essential. So you've got to open up the whole world to your opportunity set. And of course, investing outside South Africa, you invest in economies that are at different stages of the cycle, much bigger economies, much deeper economies, lots of different industries.
We focus this business very much on delivering solutions to a larger expat community. In fact, we have clients across 6 continents in our solutions.
We operate in regions like Asia, Hong Kong, Singapore, Shanghai, Beijing, Tokyo, parts of Southeast Asia, Middle East, Latin America, Europe, offering services to IFAs who in turn work with expats. And we have become the go-to place for multi-asset risk profile solutions for those advisors.
Research is absolutely imperative to our business. What we're always trying to be is ahead of the curve, looking forward as far as you can into the future. Now, we don't have a crystal ball. Nobody does. What we do have is a sound process that looks at fundamentals, looking for asset classes we think are cheap today and that will reward investors going forwards, and we stay away from the ones we think are expensive and we think will actually detract from performance going forwards.
When we look at employing and attracting staff into this business, the question is, of course, one of culture, right? What is your integrity? What is your can-do attitude? And we are lucky to have a group of people here that are incredibly well qualified, great experience. So just to give you an idea, we've got 3 CAs, 6 CFAs, 8 student CFAs, 5 actuaries. I mean, that's half the staff are really professionally qualified.
We want different views. We want people at ease in being able to challenge all of us. If you've got that terrific vibe where everybody's used to working together, enjoys working together, it's an open culture where people can speak their minds without being sort of trodden on by senior people, that's very, very important. So I think that openness is very important to encourage that debate and challenging of ideas.
At Momentum Global Investment Management, we have the best of both worlds. We have behind us a very large, very supportive parent in the form of Momentum Metropolitan Holdings, but here we are in the City of London, structured like a boutique, focused on delivering our investment outcomes for our clients. So as far as I'm concerned, we have the best of both worlds, the corporate support, but a focus, nimbleness, agility that comes from being a relatively small business as well.
For more information about Momentum Global Investment Management, visit our website, momentum.co.uk, or speak to your Momentum consultant.
It's my pleasure to introduce you to our next speaker, Chief Executive Officer of Momentum Investments, Jeanette Marais. Jeanette is not only responsible for Momentum Investments, she's also responsible for the marketing and distribution of the entire Momentum Metropolitan Group. Jeanette is an advocate for lifelong learning and making a difference in the lives of clients and also colleagues. She's also very passionate about empowering the women around her.
Hello everyone, and thank you for your time and for joining us for our annual Global Investment event. It is my pleasure to formally welcome our delegates from the United Kingdom, the United Arab Emirates, Latin America, Asia and South Africa to Think Tank 2020. And I hope that you will join us for all the sessions over the next 3 days. The theme for our think tank is 2020 and beyond, casting off COVID. This unprecedented start to 2020 had markets in turmoil and investors wondering where to turn. We are bringing you experts with interesting viewpoints that will lead the talks and discussions in order to answer the question about what shape the future will take now that we are starting to see some recovery and what it would mean for investors. Personally, I've learned a lot in this strange time, and it is mainly about connectedness. About how we connect with the important people in our lives, our clients, and how we connect with our colleagues. You've heard the phrase that says, the world is getting smaller. With the pandemic, we have experienced it much more pronounced than ever before. We have grown accustomed to connect virtually and have virtually been inside people's homes, seeing their families, their portraits, their artworks, and the pets on their laps. To ensure that our respective businesses survive the pandemic successfully, I believe that we should focus on the softer side of our beings. It is easy to want to fix the numbers first, but it is probably more important that we focus on nurturing and being mindful in everything we do. With everyone going through the drastic changes to our lives and our businesses, we need to take the effort to really listen to ourselves and the people around us. To read in between each other's lines. Being mindful will empower us with the ability to empathize with the people we do business with. Our employees, suppliers, clients, even our competitors could do with more deliberate interactions. These are not normal days, so business as usual will just not cut it. As I've shared with you before, Momentum Metropolitan has been on a turnaround path since 2018 with our Reset and Grow strategy. This strategy has provided a very good base from where we were able to counter and soften the impact that COVID-19 had on our business and put us in a good position for when the economy recovers. To explain, I would like to use the analogy of a runner. Let's say that we're an athlete who's been exercising, preparing, and getting ready to run a half marathon. We now suddenly have to run an ultramarathon, which is more difficult than we envisaged. However, we are in a far better position than we would have been if we weren't fit and healthy. And we are in a relatively better position than some of our competitors that has not been practicing at all. So where are we in the race at the moment? Earlier this month, we announced our annual results, and I'm pleased to say that we are in a good position. Even though, like most companies across the world, we've experienced the hardships brought about by COVID-19. Across the group, we had a strong first half year, and we were exceeding all our targets and numbers. This strong start has put us in a good position to weather the market crash and the very tough second half of the year. For Momentum Metropolitan, the reset and growth strategy still remains valid. We believe that we are on the right track, and we will be in a good position in the race when the economy starts turning around. We have realized that our plans will have to be a combination between realism and ambition. But we could be more ambitious than before, as we are in a better position than we've been in a long time. However, this is not a one-year game. COVID-19 spoiled our fun, but in a way, it is leveling the playing field. We are gaining market share, and we are determined to come out stronger in the end. I would also like to specifically mention Momentum Investment's great results in these trying times. We managed to gain almost 3% market share on our local platform, with the best results we've had for 10 years, growing our new business by 16%. Our offshore platform is on par with any in the world, offering a very comprehensive set of solutions, and grew by 43% last year. We've done a lot over the last 2 years to enhance the ease of doing business with our platform, and the culture and attitude of the people working here are all set up for success. I would like to give my heartfelt thanks for your support. Without you as our partners, we would not have been able to achieve the success that we had. Our investment manager in London, Momentum Global Investment Managers, is a true global player with a worldwide footprint and with an office in London. That is not where our footprint ends, as we have relationships and partnerships with asset managers across the world. We are therefore able to bring global solutions to you that other players would not necessarily have access to. Collaboration is about so much more than a tool for achieving business goals or personal dreams. Collaboration is about compassion, love, support, kindness, and the power that we gain when we share with each other and lean on each other. Thank you for sometimes asking the difficult questions. Thank you for engaging with us to tell us when things are not working the way you needed it to work, when you are not getting the answers that you need, when our service promise fails, when your clients are not satisfied. By challenging us as a product provider, you are helping us grow and be more relevant. We want to express our gratitude, and we want you to know that we appreciate you, our partners. Without you, we would not have been able to reach the number of clients we did and to give them products and services that fulfill their needs. Throughout history, markets have always recovered, and it will be the same this time around. Our task would be to hang on to the good lessons that we learned. Things are never all bad. This new way of connecting has enabled us to host the biggest think tank event that we've had in the 19 years that we've been hosting it. I hope you enjoy the conference and that next year we can meet again face to face. Welcome you all once more to the special treats of London for our 20-year celebration.
We start with breaking news. Wall Street is about to close any minute now. The Dow collapsing around 1,900 points today. Its worst single-day loss ever.
In times of adversity, when the odds are stacked against you, the true mark of strength lies with those who step up to the challenge and say, "This will not be my undoing." Today, we celebrate each and every one of you who would not falter, but instead rose up and held our name high. Success begins with every small step forward, even as the road rises up. Just as steel needs fire to harden, so too are we made stronger by our challenges. As the tides shift and change, victory belongs to those who ride the waves. Bright horizons are conquered by brave explorers who are not afraid of the unknown. Together, we can overcome the challenges we face. Our partnership is our strength. Our solidarity
is our shield. Our collaboration is our weapon.